Story 1. Consultants. I am talking specifically about the folks who got paid $1.6 million to tell the state of New York that it needed trash cans to manage its trash problem. Story 2. My job basically became redundant when we returned from lockdown and hired additional workers. I literally just forward work up the chain after highlighting keywords in documents. I used to have to write the reports before, but now I just feed it into Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer and ask it to highlight the keywords. Nobody has realized anything yet, and I spend most of my day on Reddit or listening to podcasts. I don't feel guilty because the executives above me only work like 2 days a week, constantly make mistakes, get promoted, and are on twice my salary, so I guess you could argue that their job is more useless. But I'm on 135k Australian dollars for copying and pasting into Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer, so I'm not too jealous. Story 3. In an episode of Idiot Abroad, Carl spent time with people from Japan who were paid to cry at people's funerals. Not just crying, but actual bawling and making a scene of crying. I can't remember if it pays well, but it is definitely useless. Story 4. I was a consultant for a bit. I tried my best to fix problems other than, hey, fire an X amount of people. But more often than not, management denied those ideas. 1 year, my bonus was almost half my salary. What a dumb profession. Story 5. Any influencer making foolish TikTok videos is considered useless in the sense that it provides nothing of value. However, if they enjoy doing it and it makes them wealthy, good for them. Disclaimer. Yes, I'm frustrated that I have to work from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. While the Hawatua girl now has wealth I will never see in my lifetime. Story 6. Most companies that are top-heavy, meaning lots of directors, senior directors, vice presidents, and senior vice presidents, as well as C-suite executives. Every organization I've worked for has too many senior leaders tying up the fixed headcount budget instead of growing the lower levels, such as managers and below. In my opinion, this is the number one reason layoffs occur. They won't cut their own jobs, salaries, or equity, so they cut the lower levels and rehire, rinsing and repeating every 2 years. Also, regarding management consulting firms like McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, and Bain & Company, I've worked with a few consultants from these firms, and they are often glorified PowerPoint experts, paid $200,000 per year, with companies paying more than $500,000 per assignment. Oftentimes, advice is not listened to by senior leaders except for when it comes to layoffs. 100% of the consultants I've worked with will manipulate the project engagement savings to make it look better than it really is. This is why these consulting firms will lay off consultants every 2 years. Human resources tends to be useless and will look to remove problem employees as soon as possible. I've never had an HR person look out for the employee. They will protect the company first. Story 7. Dot-com company CEO in the 1990s had no real product, no assets, just like a person with a laptop and a catchy domain name. They would get venture capital, pocket it all, and then go out of business. Story 8. My sister went to a private school because she is severely dyslexic, and public schools in my country don't really help you out. As a result, she hung out with really rich people, the kinds that had butlers and loads of help. One of her friends had this little Maltese, a real cute, very well-mannered dog. One day, a man entered the house and took the dog into another room. My sister asked who that man was and why he just took the dog into a room alone. Her friend explained that he was their dog's therapist and came twice a week to have a therapy session with the dog. Dumbfounded, my sister asked how much they were paying him, 300 euros every hour. This absolute genius was paid 600 euros a week just to probably play with a puppy in a room. So, I guess scamming rich people works. Story 9. Corporate buzzword creator. Someone is out there getting paid big bucks to invent phrases like synergize your core competencies and confuse the rest of us. Story 10. That's a tough one, but I would say maybe some executives in top management who collect massive bonuses even when the company is declining. Or those consultants who tell you things you already know and charge a fortune for it. Story 11. Not just a job, but an entire industry. Health insurance companies exist almost entirely to make it harder for you to get what you need and to extract as much money out of you, your provider, and the government as possible. The executives of these places make obscene amounts of money for being not just useless, but actively harmful. In contrast, the alternative of a public agency for healthcare would at least have a purpose and also wouldn't pay really well. It is worth noting that Veterans Affairs Healthcare in the United States, the only socialized healthcare system here, consistently receives high marks for patient satisfaction and efficiency. Story 12. Honestly, serving in fine dining, I don't really make an impact on society or bring any change to the world. I usually work less than 30 hours a week and make about $80,000 a year. I have unlimited time off, high stress while I'm at work, but I don't take any work home with me. It also keeps me in shape because I walk about 7 miles a shift. It's not an easy job. There's lots of skills required to work in high-end restaurants, but my contribution to the betterment of the human race is non-existent. Story 13. Summary. A video stream controller allowed an inappropriate film to run for about an hour because they did not want to eat alone. Video stream controller. My sister works for a large group responsible for managing support staff in the media industry, including cameramen and editors. One day, she had to reprimand 2 individuals who were in charge of monitoring video feeds for a television channel broadcast in the Arab world. Their duty, which required them to work in pairs to prevent any disruptions, was to ensure the video feed was being broadcast correctly and to address any issues that may arise. Essentially, their job entailed watching television. However, during their shift, an adult film was broadcast during the time slot usually reserved for children's cartoons in Arab countries. During the human resources interview, my sister questioned the first individual about his whereabouts at the time. He responded, "I went out to eat." When she asked the second person the same question, he replied, "I wasn't going to let him eat alone, so I went with him too." Story 14. Putting potatoes into bags at our local quality assurance farm. It's labor-intensive but pays about 4 times better than the standard grocery store job here in Norway. 2 months of hard work for half a year of chilling was a sweet gig as a teen. Story 15. Most car salesmen, similar to realtors, find that the consumer can discover what they want online before making a purchase and often research or learn more about the car than the salespeople do. Like Tesla's direct-to-consumer model, I think we will see a significant shift in how car companies sell their cars in the future. Story 16. A large portion of my department's work is baseless. I work on original equipment manufacturer repair parts for a manufacturer. Unless the parts are proprietary, such as custom machined parts or pre-programmed electronics, 90% of our business is redundant. If repair service companies and technicians would just do a quick Google search and buy directly from that item's manufacturer, like motors, brakes, some electronics, they would save a ton of money. Frankly, the way the industry is structured, the service companies are ditching smarts and lower costs for lucrative service contracts. We are seeing more business than ever because of incompetence from the industry at large. Story 17. Six Sigma Consultant. This specialized program seamlessly integrates lean principles and Six Sigma methodologies to create a new breed of consultants equipped to lead process optimization and organizational excellence initiatives, PowerPoint presentations with graphs and pie charts, etc. Story 18. CEO. If you can be CEO for 6 different companies and still have time on your yacht without your company going under inside of 6 months, you're pretty useless. Story 19. Middle managers. Have you ever wondered why there is such a push to get people back into offices? It's because these individuals all realized how pointless their roles seemed and pushed to get people back before anyone noticed. Story 20. The university system as a whole is utterly absurd. Individuals are receiving exorbitant compensation for doing absolutely nothing, while numerous workers are receiving nothing for their labor. Story 21. Strategy consultants. Thanks for the 297 slides nobody will read, that you've used with 63 other companies already, and that you can summarize as follows. Cut staff to make room for more money for CEOs, board of directors, and some shareholder dividends before the end of the year. After which, our non-existing advice will fail spectacularly so you can bring us back to fix the mess we created and pay us another few million for the same issue again. Oh, and also, our consultants are 26 with 0 years of actual experience. Story 22. Not sure how useless it is, it depends on how you feel about kids. But locally, a crossing guard works 3 hours a day for nearly $20 per hour for standing in place. They have holidays off and are paid if in the union. This is local to me. Story 23. Influencer. A sickness that has spread far too wide globally, influencing the behavior of millions of kids at a young age before they can develop naturally through social interactions. Story 24. Human resources management includes creating numerous PowerPoint presentations, terminating the employment of innocent individuals, retaining employees accused of criminal assault, and ensuring their protection, all while earning an easy $100,000 a year. Story 25. The whole university system is a complete joke. People are getting paid ridiculous salaries to do completely nothing, while a bunch of employees earning little are doing all the work. Story 26. 85% of this post is everything involving consulting and middle management is nonsense. And the remaining 15% is people going, we haven't had this specific type of emergency in a while. Therefore, we shouldn't have anyone on standby in case it does happen. Story 27. My area of law is crazy. I had a 3-hour meeting where I had to tell someone not to incorporate something in a contract, and despite their best efforts to subvert me, I ended up saving the company at least a few $1,000,000. Otherwise, I do banal contract reviews. Story 28. Consulting. It's generally being paid to put someone else's ideas into buzzwords, then accepting the blame if it goes wrong, and passing the credit along if it goes right. Story 29. Consultant for the government. It's not useless, but the workload is ridiculously low. I was working for a contractor making good money, but I was working more than 12 hours a day. A headhunter contacted me, and I have been working for the federal government for the past 3 years. I doubled my salary, and my workload in life in general have been an eye-opener to the waste that the federal government hands out. I work from home 50% of the time and have taken calls and meetings while fishing. I just keep my laptop close and use my phone as an internet connection. Story 30. State Agriculture Inspector. My company has to pay for someone to come inspect any plant that we receive from outside our state. All they do is come by, look at one of the plants for 2 seconds and go away. Story 31. Home inspectors. It's a visual inspection of your home on that day. That's it. The report is 75% canned content. They add pictures and serial numbers for the appliances and charge upwards of $500 in some areas for about 2 hours work. Maybe 3 if they took a lot of pictures. Anything actually wrong with the house? They refer you to someone else who will charge his own fees to assess it. You would be better off just hiring a plumber, an electrician, and a general contractor to do a walkthrough and actually call out things they need to fix. It's an entirely made-up industry and didn't even exist in the 70s. Now we've all been conditioned to think you can't buy a house without one.